Hello, everyone. It's so nice to gather again, at least on Zoom, with you. I can't thank you enough, everyone that was in the class on December 9. It was extraordinary. The energy was extraordinary. You guys are extraordinary. It just filled my heart huge to interact with you at such a deep level. And so I want to thank you again and again and again for that wonderful privilege of being together with you. And so this particular brief recording, I wanted to give you a little more background on the follow-up class, which we're going to be doing on the 15th of January, and the same time, Pacific Standard Time, 8:30 to 12. So it's a full-blown class. And here's the purpose of that, is that, as Jay had mentioned originally when we were getting set up for the class that we did on December 9, he had mentioned about this being a paradigm shift. So quantum culture, when you think of a culture in a company, it's like a personality. And a personality has all kinds of, factors in it. It has belief systems in it, and it has, uh, all kinds of aspects that define a personality. Choices, preferences, uh, preferences of whatnot and what to, and all of that. There's a lot going on when you're talking about a corporate culture. But the thing that I noticed when I began my consulting career, which started with commercial banks, is that, I had begun working with the board of directors of a bank that was really, really challenged in Beverly Hills. They had all kinds of challenges going on, and it was actually my first consulting project. And what I learned from that project is that the board of directors were the nucleus of that organization. And they had been struggling maybe 9 years, 9.5 years, something like that. Really struggling, small bank, 4 branches, I believe. And what had happened, what I started to realize is that the board of directors collectively were sending out a signal of their opinions about the frontline staff, about all kinds of things. And that opinion they seem to all agree on. And that was more of an elite and little kind of thing going on there. And so what happened in that particular situation is that all that I realized so deeply that all that needed to shift is the attitude of the nucleus, meaning in this case, the board of directors, because the board of directors was sending out a signal that was being duplicated by who they hired and who they attracted as clients. And then the amount of clients being attracted. And so what we did in that particular situation, or I did in that particular situation, was to shift to actually different, was to raise their sense of value of the frontline staff. That's tellers, secretaries, operations people, things like that, to raise their value and to make clear that those people's value is determining whether the bank stock goes up or not. And when they started to realize that, they changed their attitude. And their attitude was very different. And I can promise you, the part that I realized my first consulting project is, as a consultant now, I wouldn't have to go department to department to department to department. All I needed to do is shift the nucleus. So I actually created a business theory called the nucleus effect, because once the core that's launching the frequency from attitudes and beliefs and such and opinions and that through their whole system without realizing they're doing that, that once that shifted, that shift also cascaded through the entire system, all 4 branches. Whether they were even ever present in any of the other branches, it was felt through the system. And that was the biggest aha for me when I began consulting, that that's the issue, is to shift the signal being emitted. Now, the follow-up, so what are we talking about with regards to quantum culture and practices? And the follow-up of that is to anchor the shifts that happened on the 9th and to polish the areas that might not have been fully comprehended. Because whatever we're coming to the table with is the signal we're emitting into the quantum field. And so in our case here, is that the signal that we're raising is how significant is your energy enhancement system wellness center to the people that you are serving, and at the same time, people looking for you right now that will feel a signal that you realize how crucial raising consciousness for each individual is, and how raising that consciousness collectively will alter the frequency on Earth. And we don't need that many, according to HeartMath Institute. So that's what the follow-up is about. I'll give you an example of a woman I was coaching in Colorado, and she was more in the advertising business and such, and so had a magazine that she was producing and all that. Anyway, so I was teaching her about the power of intention in the coaching, and like, what is her intention? And so after like a full coaching session on intention and the power of intention and why what it is, the definition of it, how it works, and all of that was a deep, in depth. And so then when we met again the second time, she came back with, I've been practicing what I learned about power of intention. And here's what she said. She said, I start every day by saying, I am seeking to create an intention to attract blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's a misinterpretation of the information, because there isn't, you don't seek an intention, you just make an intention. I know you guys all know this, and it sounds like small, but it is small, but it's also gigantic, because seeking an intention is not launching an intention. So what that means is the result would diminish or not exist. And of course, that is my greatest fulfillment and joy in my life. It's when people are freed in such a way to be able to produce an outcome just by how they're being. And when that starts flowing in, it's extraordinary for me to be able to have participated in that being possible, and then watching the joy and the freedom and the abundance that flows in when that does happen. So when this woman made that little shift, at that moment is when I realized the smallest shifts create the most exceptional results, which is what happened in her case. And so I started to pay more close attention, I would say, in my coaching or consulting, that just even the smallest shift, because what happened in that bank in Beverly Hills, by the way, what that was, they started to show appreciation for the tellers when they'd come in and transact maybe a cashier's check or something. Rather than looking at them as a servant, as they did, rather than their collective investment counselors, as they began to believe and trust that that's who they really were, with their investment counselors, the front line was. And so when they understood that, they started saying hello and thank you and good morning, and started interacting with them. And what I noticed, first of all, was how the board of directors, they were very, very, very 12 very, very, very rich men, is that they softened. I noticed a softening that was happening with these men that was amazing. And here's the result that happened when they shifted this one thing. This one thing, they raised their appreciation for the people that who were serving them, actually. And when they did that one thing, what ended up happening, the harmony and their issue was turnover, and they can't seem to grow. Okay, those are their issues. in that period of time, that 90-day period of time, there was not one turnover, not one, when they had a history of, what is that called? Revolving door happening there. Not one resignation happened in that period of time. And the best part of all for them is that in the 90-day period of time, that 90 days, which was October, November, December, which banks traditionally don't grow in that last quarter of the year. They don't want to mess up their books for their CPA in January, is why they don't usually grow very much at all historically. However, just a shift of that attitude tripled their result, more than tripled their result, and tripled it in 90 days, 1/4 the time in October, November, December, tripled, never happened in their history ever. So that's the significance of what we are emitting and what we're emitting in the quantum field. My experience and background in this is long-standing, and there is massive amounts of proof from many people's results and companies' results where a shift of an attitude changes everything. So what we're doing in the follow-up is polishing the attitude and polishing the interpretation also. Like Jay said, this is the paradigm shift. It's not just, oh, if I start doing this other doing, then everything will work out well. So that's not that simple in a way. What is simple is just when we understand, because we're hardwired to be what we're talking about being in the quantum culture. So it's not like inventing something new, it's revealing our higher states and who we be. So that's what the follow-up is about. Oh, I have chills. That's what the follow-up is about on January 15th. And I would love to see you again, certainly, and love to see you there on the 15th. And that's going to be a lot more interaction with you guys, because we want to hear what's happening, what has been results. And that's the other part too we want to do on the follow-up class, is to what was happening when you had an out of the blue. Out of the blue is a result without a direct strategy. If I do these 3 things, then something will happen on the 4th time. That's a strategy where we decide if we do these actions, then the 6th action will be a result, and that's a strategy. Out of the blues is, you know what the difference is, what we're talking about? We're talking about attracting opportunity rather than going and getting opportunity. And oh, chills, that's the difference. And it's enormous. And that is all 5th dimensional stuff. And what you have is 5th dimensional technology that is raising the consciousness of humanity in a way they've been seeking for a lifetime, myself included, in this. Anyway, and then a really quick note, just for you guys also. I mean, I'm blown away by this technology from Nikola Tesla and Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. I referred a friend of mine who is in San Francisco to Dr. Jenny's center, wellness vision center that she has there in Richmond, California. And he had some things going on. He had just had a heart surgery, 11-hour heart surgery 4 days earlier. And so he was having all kinds of emotional things going on. And then he had also some kind, I've known him long time, since 1980 we met. And he had some, what do you call, emotional swings, we'll say. And that, intense. And he was a serious quality guy, ballet dancer himself. And now he's an interpreter that works with doctors and interprets the language for the doctor and the patient for when they speak Spanish. And so, so he went into Dr. Jenny's center first time, called me as he was about to go inside, and was saying how he was feeling, high anxiety. And so, and I could hear it in his voice. I've known him a long time and know, oh my gosh, that emotional swing is there. Anyway, he goes in for 2 hours and calls me and was like, oh my God, it's going to make me cry. he just said all of that anxiety. He said maybe there was 10% evidence still there of some anxiety, but it all reduced, all of it. Then he right away signed up for, come as many times in a month as you can. And he's also in 3 days on his way to Mexico. So I did send him the information of his, that from Mexico that I had mentioned in the class for the wellness center in Mexico, which he's only an hour away from. And so I'm excited about that, him continuing. He's never experienced such a more dramatic change. And he's a high guy, meaning high intuitive guy, high intelligence guy that was trapped in an emotional swing dynamic for a long time. And in a very short period of time, that has all changed because this technology is raising the consciousness in people, which is alleviating the suffering and the entrapment of cycles that don't serve. So that's how important you are. That's how important this technology is. And I am dedicated and committed the full of my life to see to it that you win and you find a way to keep attracting more people and attracting more people, not going and getting. I have so much evidence and proof, so much proof that what we're talking about is true, 100%. And I live my life from this long time. So anyway, sorry, emotional. I'm just so grateful to be here and in awe of you and what you're bringing to the planet and how much this technology, it's not in my imagination or just because I like you all so much. I am hearing in the voice of my friend from San Francisco the profound transformations that have happened for him. He goes there 4 hours now. He goes there and just swimming in it before he goes to Mexico. So anyway, and he's invited other people to come too. So that's what starts happening in a sense. And I want this for you. So that's I hope brief enough to be able to share the value and the significance of the follow-up class on January 15. And to sign up if you like, you can go to my website, which is quantumleadership.group. Scroll down a teeny weeny bit, and there's a video there of people giving their experiences. Right under the video, you'll see 2 boxes. One will say January 15 introduction, quantum culture and practices introduction. That's free event. And then if you know of others that have wellness centers that'd be interested in taking a look at what is this, please, it's there. And for people to sign up there. Also, if they want to go to the introduction part too, but on that is also a registration for the follow-up class. When you scroll down below those 2, because the other one is showing a new class for January 21st. Below that is then signing up for the follow-up class. It's real clear. The follow-up is very clear which is which. And scroll down and then sign up for following up on January 15th. I hope to see you there. And again, to realize, as I have, this is so true, the smallest shifts, the smallest shift, singular, the smallest shift creates the most exceptional results. And 100% what my heart and soul and mind and body want for you is that, because that is your collective impact is unlike anything that is possible for the earth to raise, for humanity to raise their frequency by just being exposed to these wonderful technologies from Dr. Sandra Rose, Michael, and Nikola Tesla. And I'm grateful for all of you and certainly grateful for them. There. Oh, it's my appreciation every moment I walk by here. So hope to see you on the 15th, and I'll get this out to everybody. And thank you again for your participation. This matters, you matter, and attracting more people matter. And that's what I want to do, whatever possible, to inspire to happen for you. So with that, I thank you and look forward to seeing you again. Bye.